this is going to be great.
Welcome to the White House Pod with David A.R.
I'm gonna finish what I started.
It's not easy. It's simple.
Jeremy Miller, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you.
I'm so excited today. We got an amazing guest here. I've known you for a little bit, and your lovely wife is here.
Fiancé, but yes.
Fiancé. How long have you guys been together?
Over 21 years.
Wow. That sounds like a wife.
Very well, yes. If we were in another state, we'd long since been common law, but California got rid of common law.
Did they?
Yeah,
Oh.
Actually 15, 20 years ago now.
Wow. 21 years, though. That's quite a relationship in Los Angeles.
It is. We were set to be married.
Okay.
777 fell on a Saturday. You know, the perfect number. She loved that. I mean, she's not in numerology or anything. It was just, God's number, the perfect number, 7, happened to line up on a Saturday. So we were like, let's do it. This is perfect. Unfortunately, we got all our deposits out and everything else. And I was under contract for a film I was doing in China that we thought we were finished with.
Right.
And at the last minute, they called me back for the entire month of July.
Oh.
And we lost all our deposits. So again, I know she's not going anywhere. She knows I'm not going anywhere. So I basically said, whenever you find another date that lines up, I'll be there. Just let me know. So 21 years later, I'm still just blessed
Pretty
every day
impressive.
to have this amazing woman.
All right. So where are you from?
Southern Cal, my whole life, pretty much.
What part?
I was born in West Covina, California.
Okay.
And basically grew up all around there, Azusa, West Covina, Glendora. Lived in Alhambra with my grandmother for a long time. And then when I started doing the show, we moved into the Valley to be closer to the studios and stuff.
When you're saying the show, are you referring to Growing Pains?
Yes,
okay.
My main show, yeah. When Growing Pains started, and
start before that. Like, when did you get into the business, and how did you get into the business?
Sheer luck, to tell you the truth. I always loved to sing when I was young. And also, as the story goes, I don't really remember this, but I would wander the house reciting lines from my favorite shows, like entire scenes and stuff like that. Brady Bunch, Chips, Incredible Hulk, whatever, all those shows I was watching as a kid.
Did Incredible Hulk have a lot of lines?
Yeah, there was a decent amount for Banner.
Right. Before he turned into the Hulk.
Not so much for Hulk, but I started taking singing lessons.
How old were you?
About 4 years old.
Because you wanted to, or because your parents were like, wow,
well, my mom,
his voice isn't good?
It was. Honestly, I just think it was something my mom knew I liked to do.
Yeah.
And Mickey Rooney had opened a couple of little places called Mickey Rooney's Talent Town.
Wow.
And you could learn pretty much anything in the entertainment, dance, song, acting, pretty much anything you wanted to learn, you could go there and learn. It was very close to my house. So I started taking singing
in West
lessons
Covina,
there.
or
it was in Monrovia, actually.
Monrovia was up the whatever. It's
210 a bit.
Okay, it's up there.
But it wasn't too far from my house, and of course, I mean, the name Mickey Rooney, definitely carries.
Did he ever
some weight.
show up?
He did a few times. It was really cool. I got to meet him a couple of different times, and very, very friendly man. He was very, very sweet to all of us. But my singing coach had daughters who were in the industry already. And she just kind of came to my mom and said, have you ever thought about putting him, on TV? And these are her exact words. She said, he has the personality for it. He never shuts up. So you might want to think about it. And we had nobody in my family who was ever a part of it. I mean, at least that we knew of.
Where were you on the with the brothers and sisters? Were you the youngest? Were you
I'm
the
oldest of my direct brothers.
Okay.
Both my parents have been married 3 times. Third one stuck for both of them.
Wow.
So I have half brothers and step brothers, and I got a lot of brothers.
Yeah. But you're the oldest.
I'm in the middle. If
Okay.
you count up all the steps and halves and everything.
Yeah.
But my full blood brother and my 2 half brothers, I'm the oldest of.
Kind of like ruins the whole idea that the baby is the one who normally goes into the show business thing.
Yeah,
right? I'm a
was-
baby. My youngest is the most outgoing. Like, for sure, you would peg her to be, in show business. But that's interesting that you were on the other side of it. Really.
Yeah, I really was
oldest
the
or the
oldest,
middle is
and
just, it's like.
it doesn't normally happen that way. Yeah, but
All right, so then do you get an agent? How old are you at that point?
I'm about five and a half. And mom kind of took me aside after school one day and just said, "Hey, what would you think about trying to be like one of those kids on TV?" Well, I'm 5. So I was like, okay, cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was about, but we started auditioning. I did very well early on.
Commercials, probably, like, I would imagine you just started booking commercials right away.
The funny thing is, within my first 10 auditions, I booked a national McDonald's commercial. Whoever did the casting on this, man, did they know what they were doing? It was me, Jaleel White,
Okay.
Urkel from Brandon Call, who had 3 or 4 pilots in during the 80s and 90s, RJ Williams. Okay. So basically it was 5 kids, and every one of them went on to work consistently on major series and major. So that was
and that's your first McDonald's commercial.
That was like within 10 auditions.
Wow.
And then from that point on, I didn't work for another like 2.5 years.
Wait, what happened?
I auditioned and auditioned and auditioned. There's over 350, 400 auditions over 2 years.
So you do that one. At the time, you don't know any of those guys are going to get famous. And it was a big success, I'd imagine, right?
It was a fairly successful commercial.
And then all of a sudden it stops.
Well, I kept getting, final callback. I kept getting down to the final 4, the final 2, but I never booked anything. Wow. And as we were kind of getting there, my mom was a single mom.
Yeah.
Our church was helping us out at the time because she was having to take off of work to shuttle me around to auditions and stuff. So we were struggling. And after one of the auditions, this is after about 2 years of nothing, mom took me aside and sat me down and said, "Look, financially, I don't think we have more than about 2 more months in us. And after that, we're done."
Was she remarried at this time or no?
No, she hadn't remarried yet. It was just us. And, she would haul me and my little brother after school all around town. I mean, from Venice to, in Hollywood, just auditions all over the place.
That's what's so funny about like the industry these days is because there's so much on tape stuff, right? That you send in these auditions and everything. But back in the day, you had your Thomas guide and you're trying to figure out how in the world do I go to that casting?
7 years old. I am finding everything in the Thomas guide so mom can
make it right.
Oh yeah. So that's what I was doing. And
so when Growing Pains, how 2 years later, was it?
Essentially, both mom and I, she had basically said, just pray about it. If this is what we're supposed to be doing, just pray about it. And her and I started praying. I mean, we both did.
Were you raised Christian or Catholic or what?
My mom was Mormon.
Okay.
And my dad was born again Christian. Chuck Smith, the Santa Ana Calvary Chapel, Jesus Movement. That was my dad's scene.
Okay.
So I was raised with a very Christian background and a strong faith background. But the truth is, we both started praying, just if this is what we're supposed to be doing, please let something happen. And I swear to you, within 3 weeks, I started booking every last thing I went out on.
Wow.
Different Strokes, Charles in Charge, Punky Brewster, Pryor's Place, which was Richard Pryor's kids show on Saturday mornings with Keenan Ivory Wayans and all these incredible stars.
Right.
But it just seemed like all of a sudden I went from getting down to the final 2 to booking everything.
Are you 7 years old at this point? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And got my first film.
So the message here is that you got to work at it, guys, for a while, and then you will have great success. Or pray also, and then have success.
Most people have to really work at it.
He put a good 2.5 years in before he really broke through.
But then you have guys like my buddy James Marsden, who plays Cyclops in X-Men and stuff like that. I knew Jimmy when he moved out to L.A. from Oklahoma.
Okay.
He actually lived in my back house. That was one of his first places he lived when he came out here. And he is the true pack up all your things Hollywood success story.
Yeah.
He literally loaded everything he had in Oklahoma into the back of this little car.
Where's he from in Oklahoma? Do you know?
I don't remember. I knew at one point.
And then he came out, 18, 19, something like that.
But I think he was about 19 years old. And he started work within 6 months. he booked a new series on the CW, and then he booked this film and that film. Then he booked Notebook, and then he just never stopped from the time he set foot in LA. But that's incredibly rare, as you know.
All right, so we're 7. You're booking all these shows. At what point Growing Pains comes in there around that point, right?
It was pilot season.
Yeah.
And we're going out on all these different pilots. And I actually booked 2 pilots. I got Growing Pains, and I got another one called Fathers and Sons.
Okay.
That was an NBC show with Merlin Olsen. And we had to choose because they want you to screen test, but you have to sign the contract before you screen test. So we had to make a choice which one we were going to do. And all of my agents, everybody said we should do Fathers and Sons. Merlin Olsen
Just because of Merlin, right?
Merlin was the bigger name.
Yeah.
NBC was considered the stronger network at the time, and so on. So
Growing Pains is ABC, right?
ABC.
Yeah.
And at the time, ABC was not doing great.
Interesting.
So everybody was trying to push us towards, Fathers and Sons.
Yeah.
And my grandmother and my mom just had this feeling. That's really all it was. They had this feeling that this is the direction we needed to go. And thankfully, we took Growing Pains. And
Did Fathers and Son last? How long did
it went
last?
1 full season, I believe.
Okay.
It might have not even made that. I think it might have been canceled halfway through the first season. I don't remember. My good friend Andre Gower actually ended up doing that role. Him and I used to audition together all the time. We'd take turns beating each other out for stuff.
You get on Growing Pains. Did you have any idea? Because Growing Pains, what did it last? 10 years?
We had 7.
7.
Yeah,
Okay.
7 seasons.
Did you have an idea that it was going to be like when you walk on that show? You're 7. Mm-hmm.
About 7.5.
Do you
when we did
remember the first couple episodes?
Absolutely.
Of that thing?
I remember shooting the pilot, our very first one. And funny enough, Tracey Gold was not Carol Seaver in the pilot. Tracey had auditioned multiple times for the show, but they went with a different actress.
How old was she then?
Tracey is 7 years older than me, so she would have been about 15 or 16.
Okay. When she came on.
When she came onto the show. But the initial girl, who was a wonderful actress and was very sweet, there was no chemistry there, apparently. When they showed the pilot around and they did the test marketing stuff, it was kind of like one of these things is not like the other,
Yeah.
We all looked like
it's
a
interesting
family.
that's not that like it happens a lot is where like especially on the smaller the kids are, because you can kind of swap them in and out and you're like get new kids.
They tried to do that with my friends from Home Improvement.
Okay.
So 3rd season, the kids' agents wanted to renegotiate. And Disney is often not real fond of negotiating. So they basically said, you're not getting a penny more. And if you ask for more, we will cut you and replace you like that. And Tim Allen got wind of it and said, these are my boys in the show. This is my show. You are not.
He saved them then.
He stepped up and fought for them
okay.
and actually got them their pay raises and said, you are not firing my sons on this show. But he stood up for them. So
whoever was your middle sister, because you were the youngest, right, on the show? So the middle person did get released. They did not have Tim Allen.
No. And
negotiating for them.
They had to really convince Tracey to come back. She'd already been turned down 3 or 4 times for the show.
Right.
And at the time, she was living in New York. So she had to fly out here for every audition. And finally, they said, please, you got to come back. We need you. And she was like, no, I'm not coming back again. You guys have told me no 4 times. I'm not flying to LA for you to say no again.
Right.
But thank God she did, because it was that missing piece.
How many episodes were you in before she?
It was
joined?
just the pilot. They
Okay.
reshot all of her scenes for the pilot.
Okay.
And we released that as our initial episode.
I was on Evening Shade when I came out here from Kansas, and I was 19 and got on that show 6 months after I was here.
Nice.
So
finished the pilot. I'm like 7.5.
okay.
I book a film, a TV movie.
Yeah.
Called Deceptions with Barry Bostwick and Stephanie Powers.
Yeah.
It was a miniseries for NBC. So we get to go to London to film at basically
Yeah.
7.5 years old.
Wow.
And went and had an absolute ball. We filmed at the legendary Pinewood Studios, which is where all the Bond films were done. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the legendary studios in England. And funny enough, ran into, because my grandmother went with my mom and I to film there. And as we're walking across the set, my grandmother goes, "That's your uncle, David Huddleston," who was a very famous character actor. He was in Blazing Saddles. He's got an IMDb list this long. He is my grandmother's cousin, like once removed. She hadn't seen him in 30 years. Recognizes him from across the lot. He's there filming Santa Claus with Dudley Moore. He's playing Santa Claus in the 80s film Santa Claus with Dudley Moore, and they're filming there. And I all of a sudden find out I do have a relative in this industry. I actually do have somebody who has made quite a name for himself in this industry, but just completely random.
Have you ever seen him since?
A couple times before he passed away, yes.
Yeah. All right, so you're shooting that movie, then you come back, and then this show hits, right? And
We
starts
find out
to-
that we're going for a full season.
Yeah.
Writing.
What was he doing before then? Like, how was he a big star at that point?
Well, Alan had made his name as basically the Johnny Carson of Canada.
okay. As a host?
As a host.
Yeah.
He was the biggest talk show host.
Thank God that we're showing this on YouTube right now and or Spotify. If you were watching this, we're showing. Yeah, we're showing it.
So Alan was...
If you're not, go there.
check it out, definitely. Alan was just, I mean, it was him and Wayne Gretzky were basically the two biggest guys in all of Canada at that point. And they hired Alan to come down and recreate his talk show. Basically, they hired him to challenge Johnny Carson in the States.
Okay.
And Alan's favorite line was, "They always said no one could beat Carson, and I'm the guy they hired to prove it." So Alan brought his show down, and it was a historic flop because he was going up against Carson.
Yeah.
And Alan's name didn't hold a lot of weight at that point. He had just taken a big hit on this talk show.
Was it
And
right before Growing Pains?
It was about a year and a half
okay.
before
So he
Growing
was still.
Pains.
So it was still in the air.
Yeah, it was
anyway,
still
of
very
the
fresh.
loss.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's another part of why people didn't have a lot of confidence in the show.
Yeah.
But Alan saw something. The writing, Kirk's charisma, all of that. He was probably the first one of the cast to know or to see that this was going to get to be something big.
All right. So you guys go into the second season. It starts to heat up. Are you how long does it take before it's flying high in the ratings? Because what night was it on?
We were on Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights, okay.
It was Who's the Boss, then Us, then Moonlighting. That was Tuesday. That was,
I mean, that's like the number one
big
slot,
lineup.
right?
Yeah, it was ABC's best slot.
Yeah.
So we were doing very, very well. By the second season, we were consistently in the top 10.
Yeah.
We really hit our stride probably midway through the second season.
Did you guys start winning Emmys around the
We
way?
were nominated for a few here and there. There was a little conflict with our show. We were never pushed as hard as other shows on ABC because Warner Brothers owned us. ABC did not. And there was a little bit of infighting there. So ABC did not push us as hard as they normally would have a popular show like ours. So we didn't get quite as many nominations. Alan won, I think, 2 Golden Globes. Joanna was nominated for multiple ones. And this is as close as I ever got, but one of my episodes, I was down to, I think, the final 6 or final 8 for the Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Emmy.
Wow.
But I didn't make the final 5.
Yeah. But you were getting there.
Well, it was as close as I got on it was one of the more dramatic episodes they gave me to do, and it was nice that they even recognized.
Were you guys was the entire family in every episode?
Yes.
Because how many episodes?
About 163, 164 over the 7 years.
Is it still running on?
It's on streaming now. I think
Which
Pluto was running it on a 24-hour loop recently.
I mean, I can't even imagine. Like it's been 20 some years, right? So that it's been off the air.
Yeah. Well, 92 was our last year.
Oh wow,
on
it's
air
been that long. Okay.
So,
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's funny because I was a big fan of Growing Pains growing up, and specifically I was around Kirk Cameron's age, so big fan of Kirk's, and then when I got on Evening Shade, we shared the same makeup artist. So I do now remember going over to on your last season, because I was on Evening Shade at the time, to meet Kirk and hang out with you guys for a minute. Like, it was pretty quick. When you think back on Growing Pains, what's your top sweet memories of it?
There's a level
I'm sure there's a lot of them, but
there was a level of camaraderie that I've never experienced again.
Since
we were a family. It's not that I haven't been on some wonderful sets where people really get along and they love each other, but this was a 200-person family, and that's incredibly rare.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew our cameraman's kids. We knew the lighting guy's kids. We knew, it was a big family. So there were many special moments like that. One of the best, one of the biggest was getting to go film our very special Hawaii episode. Because
going to Hawaii?
Yeah, we all went to Hawaii, and we filmed there for about a week and a half. And then we were on hiatus, so everybody stayed for an extra 2 weeks after filming, and we had this big group vacation together.
Yeah.
And it was, like I said, all the families. Our director's kids were there. Kirk's sisters were all there. Tracy's sisters were there. My little brothers were there. It was a big family vacation, and that was pretty special. The other times that stand out the most were the times where, Kirk and Tracy and I really got to be kids on camera, where we got to goof around and just really have fun with each other because it was real. Kirk always tormented us. We always tormented Tracy, like brothers do.
Poor middle child, Tracy.
Well, Trace was actually the big sister on set.
Oh, she was the biggest?
She was a year older than Kirk.
Oh, okay. All right. So when Growing Pains ends, did you see it coming? It was pretty clear that it was closing up.
Well, it was, we had been moved around a lot, and that's usually a very good sign that you're not long for the world in this world. ABC and Warner had moved us around. We had gone from Tuesday night to Wednesday night, and we still did pretty well there ratings dropped, but it wasn't a quality issue. It was just Wednesdays were a harder night for ABC to sell. We were up against Matlock, which took away a large portion of our older audience. We were up against Golden Girls at one point. It was harder. So we went from being a top 5 show to being a top 20 show. And we held that position for about 3 years. And then they moved us to Friday night. All I remember was when we heard it, all of us in the cast kind of looked at each other and were like, okay.
What year was this?
That would have been 91. That's year 6.
Okay.
So when we're doing the 7th season, which was our final season, we were getting to the end of the year. We're about 4 episodes away, and we still hadn't been told whether we were coming back yet or not. There was still a very good possibility we were going to be doing an 8th season. So our writers wrote out this big, complicated 2-part
Were you guys
episode.
all in the was the entire cast committed to coming back to an 8th season?
Yes, they were at that
Everybody
point.
was like, we still want to do this.
Had ABC given us an 8th season, everybody would have taken
how was
it.
People always want to know, it seems like, I'm watching this Charlie Sheen thing right now, right? And the negotiations of cast members, like who gets more money. Where did this whole thing, obviously the friends, they all sat on a thing that said, okay, we're all going to take the same. And obviously that paid off for all of them very well. But like on this show, because you had been there so many years, everybody's, it's a whole family unit. Like what happens in the negotiations in that sense?
Our negotiations were all kind of separate.
Yeah.
We were not favored
Because
nations.
Kirk was the most paid, right? The highest paid?
Here's the thing.
Or it seemed like it from the media.
Alan was this smart. He saw, like I said early, he saw the star power Kirk had and the possibility
the
of
charm
what
that
he could do.
Came in with it.
So he saw that Kirk was probably going to be the breakout character from our show.
Yeah.
So he very smartly tied his contract to Kirk's.
Oh, wow. Early on.
Basically from day one, Alan said, I don't care if it's by $1, I need to be the highest paid on the show. So as Kirk's contract skyrocketed,
Yeah.
Alan's just went up with. I don't even know if his agent had to do any negotiating.
You didn't even have to fight for it.
Nope.
Wow.
Because every time Kirk's went up,
How
Alan's
is that
went up
though?
too.
That had to be hard then for the other three. I mean, did you guys know that his contract was tied to Kirk's? Like, how do we even know that?
But
Or just leaks out?
He had told us, but that wasn't
Oh.
until a little later on, maybe fifth season, sixth season.
Kids, please, let's have a seat. I have something to tell you.
It just kind of came up in normal conversation at one point or another, and it wasn't anything any
Yeah.
of us were upset about. It was like that tracks. Alan was always just that smart.
Yeah, that's
you
very
know.
smart.
So that's just. I was always the lowest paid. Not
Because you were the baby?
I was the baby. It's not like I wasn't
Yeah.
taken care of, but I was always lowest on the scale because I was the youngest, I was the baby, and I also had the least amount of experience. I mean, Kirk and Tracey both were established on multiple TV shows at that point,
Yeah.
multiple films. Alan and Joanna were both very established. I was kind of the newcomer. So
Yeah.
I always had the least amount of negotiating power.
Did were you guys with similar agents or all different agents?
All different agents except for Tracey and I, because
okay.
I was with her father, Harry Gold, at the time.
Oh, yes.
So we were
yes,
both
yes.
represented
Yeah.
by him.
Ironically, you know, because we saw each other at Scott Baio's birthday party just recently. Baio is with Harry Gold to this day for years and years. I just had a conversation with Harry, like when Baio was in our
been
last
around
movie.
for absolute
Yeah, it was
ever,
very
and-
funny to do. I'm like, you're still here. Like, it's been. I think he's in his 70s, right?
Oh, he's got to be.
Are you? Is he still representing you?
No. I
Okay.
moved on from that agency and went to a smaller kind of boutique agency for a while.
You're how old when the show ends?
The show ended when I was 15.
Okay, so that's a hard age also to try to figure out because you're in the middle of you know trying to grow up.
Oh, yeah. No, it was puberty and
everything, and your
breaking
face
out
doesn't really
and-
look. You don't know whether you're tall, short. Casting directors can't remember what you know. All they do is probably see you as a small kid
Yep.
from the show.
I
the
was
hit show.
I was very typecast for a little while as well.
Did you take time off?
I did a little bit later.
Okay.
At 15, I just kept auditioning.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of bad luck, which seems to be kind of
I don't know if I would say bad luck. I would probably say it's just reality.
It worked out exactly how it was supposed
because the amount of people that are able to come in and hit television show is less than 1%.
Oh, yeah.
Probably in the world, right? So you just basically almost had to become a little human.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So
here's
to
the thing. We were still finishing up the show.
Yeah.
And I got an audition for Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
And I went in and I read with the head of casting for Days of Our Lives, and she hired me on the spot.
Yeah.
We
She
got
probably
done-
grew up watching you too.
Well, and we got done with it. It was a new character they were introducing. It was going to be a regular on Days, the whole 9 yards. And before we got to sign the contracts, I get a phone call from my agent saying they've decided they're not doing this storyline. They are not introducing the character, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that's just how quick soap operas change. Their storylines are constantly changing. But this was supposed to be, a 4 or 5 year gig minimum
To go
right after
directly
Growing
right, yeah.
Pains. And it, like I said, just didn't play out. But I kept auditioning. I did a couple of TV movies, did a couple commercials here and there. And then when I got to college age, I wanted to go to USC. It had always been my dream to go there, study drama. And
Interesting.
I did not know that USC does not allow their freshmen to audition.
Okay.
If you are studying in the drama program, you basically have to commit to not auditioning
I've heard that
outside of
before.
school for a year.
Yeah.
So I went to my agent and told him,
Hey,
I'm
gonna
going to
retire.
college. I'm out for a year. That was a big mistake.
To leave your heat.
Yes.
Basically to go study. I did this on when I was on Evening Shade. I had just come out here. I was 19, and I felt like an idiot though because I had no acting experience really at all. I mean, I grew up in the wheat fields, and so I literally tried to say, because Bert had a school, and I said, hey, I'd like to, and I was around all these people, on the show at either won Oscar Emmys or Tonys, and so I'm like, I need to learn something and be a legitimate actor, because right now I feel like a fraud. And so I auditioned for their school. They let me in, and then they're like, why would you want to go to Florida in theater when you're on a television show? Like, stay on a television show. Here's Charles Nelson Riley. Just go to school with him.
Yep.
Take his class. And I did that. That's what I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. I should just, go over here. But so you chose the opposite. And I mean, now USC's in your backyard, but you couldn't audition. So you're basically retired for a year.
For a solid year.
Yeah.
And then
you're on leave. Let's just say leave.
But I then, after I had a really bad year, just circumstance after circumstance at USC.
Okay.
I broke my ankle at a celebrity tennis tournament. We were at a charity tennis tournament we were doing, just shattered my ankle.
Yeah.
And ended up having to drop about half of my classes because it was dance and movement, stage movement, all this stuff. I couldn't even walk. So I had to remove myself from those classes. And then a month later, I got a horrific case of mono.
Mono used to be a thing that in the 20-something. I wonder if that many 20-somethings are getting mono these days.
I honestly wouldn't know. I know one of my boys had it right at the end of their high school career. I just don't hear about it as much anymore. No, you don't really.
It seemed like a thing that, like in the 90s, though, it was like rampant.
All the time, yeah. Especially, like you said, that late high school, early college age. Everybody seemed to be getting it.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Enough about mono.
But yeah, it wiped me out. And then
for a while.
So basically I had to withdraw from all the rest of my classes as well, because I was bedridden.
Now your whole first year is out
the window.
So what happens? Did you go back for a second year, or you're like, I gotta go?
Well, financially it did not make sense. I had just wasted almost $40,000 on a year of school that I got nothing out of.
And this is in the 90s,
yes,
though. $40,000 was a lot more. Than it is now.
This is 94.
Now you can go out to eat a couple times
for that. Yeah. I looked at my financials, and basically I could have afforded to do 4 more years to complete my degree, but that would have depleted every last thing I had at that point.
Yeah, well, that's got to be hard too, because you're so recognizable. Everybody in the world knows who you are at this point, I would imagine.
And that actually played against me at USC a little bit, even.
Yeah. Well, they just, he's the sitcom actor, probably, right?
That was part of it, but they, especially
we're real artists.
Well, the dean at the time in particular treated me like I was coming in there to throw my weight around or something. And I was just there to learn.
So you leave USC, and then where do we go from here? Do we go back into business, or are we like?
I decided to still take another
time off,
a little bit of time off.
Yeah.
At that point, a lot of the just living my own life kind of stuff that I hadn't gotten to do for ever.
Or be a kid.
Like
a real
was
one.
Like, okay, well, I'm 19 years old. I want to do what I want to do for a little bit. And again, that was a mistake career-wise, because the door was still open for me, essentially.
Yeah.
I still had enough heat. I still was being looked at for a lot of different type of projects. And the fact that I walked away for a solid 3 years, including the year at USC, by the time I came back, those doors had swung shut.
Wow.
The interest had kind of dried up a little bit, and it was a lot harder to get traction going again.
All right, so how do we, when you came back you're in your 20s, you're a different, not that you're a different person, but you're way more grown up. You're way more seasoned. You probably want to do more dramatic work, I'd assume, at that point.
Honestly, at that point, I really did. But I've always enjoyed, I just love performing. I am most comfortable in front of the cameras and on the stage.
He's way better than me right now at this. Way more comfortable.
Well,
I'm greatly intimidated.
Please. It's just, when you've been doing it since you were 5 years old.
You are good, though.
It's home.
I am giving you props.
Thank
so you
you.
are
I
very good right
my
now.
Friend.
I'm being a little sarcastic, but not really.
I like the
at the same
sarcasm.
time. This is why Jeremy will only talk to me for about 12 seconds. And then he's like, oh gosh, another rabid fan.
No, I just get yanked away. David, we always have great talks. I always just wanted to work.
Yeah.
I didn't mind if it was commercials, comedy,
Well, you're
drama.
an actor. I mean, that's the
love
thing about
to
actors
perform.
that I think that people forget is the true actors are the ones that it's innate, and that's the thing that lights you up, right? It's your thing. It's your boom. It's where you shine. It's where all those talents that God gave you kind of come into fruition.
Absolutely.
So and this is one of the things that I started acting when I was 19, so I'm very well aware of it. Is that when you're not doing it, it's like you're almost free falling a little bit, and you're trying to figure out what am I supposed to be doing here? And so many people go to drugs and alcohol and and trying to look different places. Oh, that's right. You had a whole thing, right?
Absolutely.
What happened with you?
A lot of mine was more
Whatever
personal
you want to
stuff.
share.
No,
of course.
I have been an open book about this for a long time now.
Did we write a book?
Yes, wrote a book.
It's
with,
on the screen right now.
When I Wished Upon a Star, I wrote it with my very dear friend Brandon Phillips, Dr. Brandon Phillips. Brandon was a wish kid.
Okay.
And he had a heart condition, was not expected to live to see 20 years old. And when he was 11, he was granted a wish by the Starlight Foundation.
Wow.
And that was back when Starlight still granted wishes. And out of everything this kid could have had, he chose to come to the set to meet me. He could have done anything in the world.
Yeah.
And he came to the set to meet me. He connected with my character. What Ben had, that family, that everything is what he wanted in his life. His dad had abandoned the family on his 5th birthday. Extremely common of children with heart defects. It puts such a strain on the family. Like I said, he wasn't expected to live to see 20. He was a barely passing student. He had a learning disability, all this different stuff. And he credited coming to the set to meet me with setting his life on a different track.
What did he want to do? Was he a writer?
Well, he had no idea what he wanted to do at that point until he had his first surgery. They went in to fix something with his heart. It was very experimental. They didn't know if it would work. But as soon as he got that done at 8 years old, he decided he wanted to be a doctor, just like the doctor who had saved his life or who had performed his surgery. And coming to California to meet his favorite star, to get to be on his favorite set and all this different stuff made him realize that maybe there was something more for him than just dying before he was 20 and not really getting to do anything he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And from that point on, he turned his studies around. He became a straight A student, busting his butt.
Where was he living?
In Louisiana.
In Louisiana.
It was a small town called Gina, Louisiana.
Okay.
And you're talking about a one-stop sign, not even stoplight town. I mean, but he set his mind to it, and he credited me with helping to put him on that path.
And so you guys wrote this book together?
Well, he was very critical in saving my life when I was deep in my addiction. So
How long, when you're, what years are these that you're in your, mid-20s or?
When I really started, I mean, I had always been drinking. I mean, I always had an affinity towards alcohol. But I started around 18 to 20 years old. It became a more consistent thing. My social anxiety disorder, which I've struggled with an anxiety disorder for a very long time.
Doesn't show.
It reared its head really bad around that time.
Yeah.
Came from a lot of the abuse stuff I suffered from my stepfather, and that's really was the root of my alcoholism, was running from that stuff. It wasn't the, Hollywood screwed me up, or I had such a bad this, or no, it was really my personal life that I was trying to run from. And I had no ability to deal with any of that. So my coping mechanism was a bottle.
Yeah.
And that.
What was your drink?
Bourbon.
Okay. Wow.
Wild Turkey was my go-to. Like any good alcoholic, it was the strongest bourbon you could buy over the, 101 proof instead of 80. And like any good alcoholic, hey, more is better.
How long were you in this for?
Oof. So it really got bad around, it was 2000 when we went to Montreal to film the first Growing Pains reunion movie. So I was 24 years old, and Montreal's a very European city. So I hit lunch for the first time with the producers, and everybody's ordering beer and ordering drinks. It's freaking 11:30 in the morning. And I was like, wait a minute, this is allowed?
Yeah.
So I started drinking with everybody else at 11:30 in the morning. And that kind of was the kickoff point of my really starting to abuse alcohol and things going really far. So I was about 24 to 30, 36?
Wow.
38 area before I really started to get a hold of it and, went into recovery. And I found a great program that was a medically assisted recovery program that was exactly what I needed. But yeah, it was a solid 10, 11, 12 years of bottles a day.
Wow.
When
you're coming out of this, is it the program that you attribute it to, or what was the turning point that you were able to go, you know what?
I had been trying for a while at this point to get sober. It had begun affecting my life greatly. I was not a pleasant drunk. I was a very angry, very mean drunk. I was not violent, but I was not a pleasant person to be around. My beautiful fiance would keep our boys out of the house running errands and stuff just so they wouldn't have to be around me. That was enough to make me want to get better.
Yeah.
But I couldn't make anything work. I did inpatient rehab, I did outpatient rehab, I did, meditation stuff. I tried the holistic paths. I ran the gamut of every last thing I could, and I couldn't make any of them work. So we were in Texas for my brother-in-law's wedding. And as you know, setting up for a wedding, all the things going on beforehand, very pressure-filled, very chaotic.
Yeah.
And I started drinking while we were out there. And my beautiful fiance, Joni, and I had a very big blow up. And I decided I'm going home.
She doesn't look like she'd ever blow up.
She's got you
She
fooled.
seems so sweet.
So I decided I didn't want to ruin this wedding. I said, I'm going to go home. I'm going to change my ticket and I'm going to fly home. And she, of course, could only see me going home and getting smashed and just ruining our lives. So she didn't want me to leave. And she freaked out and she jumped on my back to stop me from leaving. And I flung her off of me. She hit the floor and hurt her arm pretty bad. And that was my absolute down in the dumps, rock bottom, moment. I had hurt the person I love most in this world. As I said, I'd never been violent. And it's not like I attacked her. I was trying to get her off of me, but I did it very, very rough. I had no concern for her safety and getting her off of me. It was a very low moment for me. And I called my mom and I just said, Mom, you got to find me something, anything. I don't care what it is. They can chop off my arm if it works. I need something. And miracle of miracles, she came across a YouTube video about this medicine they were using for opiates and alcoholism in Australia. And they had just opened a program in Southern California. And it utilizes a medicine called naltrexone. It's the same thing that's in, the nasal spray that they use to save Narcan? It's one of the ingredients in that. Opiates and alcohol work on the same center in the brain.
Wow.
So this medicine can help to block your cravings and your need for the alcohol. And for me, that's exactly what it did. It was a very cutting edge program at the time. They've now perfected the procedure and the medicine, and it's still going. But they made a small incision in the fatty tissue in my abdomen. They inserted the pellet, which was the medicine that degrades over a 6-month period or so. And for me, it was like somebody turned off the light switch. All of a sudden, that constant need was just not there anymore.
Wow.
And I was able to start hearing the words in recovery, the things that would actually, I was able to start thinking clearly and start actually analyzing my life and the things I was doing and starting to be able to put into effect the things I needed to do to get better.
Wow.
So for me, it was a game changer.
Do you still use that?
No.
Or is there come a time that you're like, okay, now I can be out of it?
Well, after 6 months or so, if the alcohol's been out of your body for that long, you can't physically crave it anymore.
Oh, okay.
The alcohol's not there to cause the craving.
Yeah.
So now I worked with this program afterwards as a patient advocate because I was so blown away by what it had done for me. I wanted to tell everybody about it. So I actually worked in one of their clinics as a patient advocate for a couple of years. And there were a few patients who just wanted the reassurance. So after the 6 months, they went ahead and got a second implant.
Right.
But there was really no need for it. At that point, it's just maintenance. It's finding some sort of program, whether it's AA, whether it's Celebrate Recovery, whether it's something else to provide you that long-term support.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done since. I haven't needed the medicine again. I just try and work on, working with others and doing the different support groups that I participate in.
Oh, that's great, man. All right, so we got to wrap this up, but this podcast called Dare to Dream. So now, what do you tell, all of those people who are out there who have a dream but they don't know what to do with it? What's your big words of advice? Being, this massive movie star, television star / good-looking guy, and
coming from you, thank you. Honestly, it's advice that I got from my very good friend Todd Britton's.
I love Todd. We've had him on the show too.
Adore Todd to death. Yeah. Him and I have been very good friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And I would tell you, just don't stop trying. Keep banging on that door. No matter what. Even if you don't know which direction you're going, pick a direction and keep trying to chase that dream. If you pound on the door long enough, someone's got to open it.
Wise words. Jeremy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
This is our longest conversation
I know, tell me about it.
We have had, and it's been so nice. There's we've had, who knew that I had to drag you into a room to have it. But
hey, I'm glad
I'm glad I did. We have to grab lunch or dinner sometime soon.
Absolutely.
I would love that. So, all right, brother. Thank you again.
Thank you, my friend.
I appreciate you being here. All right, guys. Well, Jeremy Miller, thank you, and wise words, and we hope you enjoyed the show, and more than that, we hope that you guys were encouraged and you have an amazing day and keep pursuing your dreams. God bless you. See you next time.